Nowadays, we're constantly engaged. The moment we wake up, we immediately grab our phone to check if we haven't missed something. Afterwards, we have some work to do, so we sit in front of our desk, fully prepared to start this awesome new day. But then, we receive one push message, and it immediately grabs our attention. For a second we think, let's just ignore it. But that thought is quickly gone and replaced by, what the hell, let's just check it quickly. But that quickly soon becomes 50 minutes. That 50 minutes soon becomes half an hour. If we only could get rid of all these distractions, then we would be so much productive. However, phones are not the problem, nor the technology. Because if it's not the phone, then it's the TV. If it's not the TV, then it's the newspaper. And even if it's not conscious, it could be subconscious. For example, when you're walking on the street, you see all these kind of advertisements everywhere. And subconsciously, we see this and we store this information. So we're constantly on. So one might think that if we spend so much time with information everywhere, we would also spend a significant time being alone without distractions. But actually we don't. And that's interesting, because why do we do this? What if we actually seek distractions ourselves without being fully aware of it? We could say that we actually prefer to be extracted. Let's find out why. Hi guys, my name is Albert and I just realized I didn't even properly introduce myself in my first video. So if you haven't seen that one, go check it out. You see what I did there? One reason why we use distractions is so that we can avoid our inner thoughts and inner feelings. A lot of times when we spend time alone, we get a lot of questions to ourselves. And sometimes these questions are insecurities or not really valid questions. We start doubting what other people might think of us. We start to question ourselves. But in a lot of situations, these questions are also valid. But these are rather uncomfortable questions. Why am I doing this job when I actually don't like it? Why didn't I give that hobby a try when I had time? Why don't I pursue that goal? Why don't I take that leap? Those kind of questions are good questions to ask yourself. But when you ask those questions, they can get quite uncomfortable. I remember when I went to Norway, I went there for an exchange period for 5 months. And especially in the end, it was, I don't know, winter, it was quite cold and a lot of people had already left. You only had 5 hours of daylight. So I was basically dying there, not literally. What I really realized at that moment, I was a lot of time being alone, being in my room. I only had a room and a kitchen, so I spent a lot of time in there. I was being so completely with myself, so I also faced a lot of questions to myself, and that also brought a lot of, I don't know, uncomfortable feelings, I would say. But I don't know, I tried to write them down and to work it out. And that's actually what helped. Those questions also made me realize that I had to do something with it. And it actually also helped me to improve myself. So consider this. The next time you have these thoughts popping up, try to listen to them. Because the future cost of not doing so will be much greater. So your future self will really thank you, trust me on that. Another reason is something which you might not expect. It's actually boredom. Did you know that people actually prefer pain over feeling bored? According to researchers from the University of Virginia, they did a series of 11 studies which showed exactly that. That's quite interesting. So the next time you feel bored, you can watch these. Whoa. So the next time you feel bored, you can read these 11 studies. A lot of times actually we associate boredom with being alone. So if you're alone, it feels kind of boring, right? Why should I spend time with myself being alone when I can also do stuff with other people? But that's our perception, which is not really the reality. Actually, spending time alone can also be a good thing, and you can also start enjoying it. But a lot of times we think if you're being too alone, we are lonely. So we actually equate being alone with being lonely. That's not the case. But also another situation, we might think, well, what might other people think of me if I spend so much time alone? Well, you shouldn't be too carried away what other people might think of you in this case. But if they do, okay, I was just about to say a word which I'm not allowed to, because I realized there might be also younger generations watching this video. Let's just ignore those people. This brings me actually to the next point. Why is being alone actually a good thing? Well, first of all, the one that everyone likes, relaxation. When you spend time alone, or what I call me time, you will feel more time to do the things which you like doing, to unwind a little bit, to take it easy, to chill out, you know what I mean? And this is a good thing to do. The next thing is creativity and problem solving. A lot of ideas seem to come out of like nowhere. It is even often said that our best ideas come when we take a shower. Also, it helps our problem solving ability. I remember one time I had this coding problem at work and I just seemed to not figure it out. And I was really stuck with it. So I thought, well, I don't know, screw it. I'm done with it. I will go to bed and I will see it in the morning. When I immediately woke up, I was like, I jumped up. I had this idea in my head. I went to straight to my laptop. I tried out. It worked. So sometimes you really have to, take a step back and do nothing. It's also interesting to actually know why this happened. A few years ago, I read this book, A Mind for Numbers, by Barbara Oakley called A Mind for Numbers. And in this book, she basically said we have two types of thinking. The focus mode and the diffuse mode. Well, the focus mode is when you're really concentrated on a certain task. You're fully immersed and try to getting the information inside you. So this requires full attention and full focus. Next to that, you have what she calls the diffuse mode. And this is basically doing nothing. So when you do nothing, your brain is still going on to process the information, laying the connections. Those are the times when you immediately seem to solve a problem. So when you spend more time alone, you can achieve those things more easily. Another thing would be, I think, focus. Because when you spend time alone, you can actually focus on the things you need to do. So this will help your productivity and you can get the things done which you should be doing. But you can also take focus in a different interpretation. You can also look at focus to focus on the things in your life which is important to you. You can reassess and take a step back to find out what is really important in your life. Your friends, your family. Are you doing the job you like? Are you actually working too much? Those kind of things. And in the end, it can also help us to become more self-aware. The funny thing is that a lot of people think that they are quite self-aware when only a few of us really are. By spending more time alone, you can actually be and become more self-aware. Because you spend more time with your own thoughts, you can take a step back and reflect on the things you've been doing. Okay, the last thing I want to share maybe some ideas what I like doing when I'm alone. Maybe it can also, I don't know, give you some new ideas. The first thing would be, for example, walking. Immediately when I wake up, I like to have a cup of coffee and then straight go for a walk. The interesting thing is I do this without music. Because I notice when I listen to music, I listen to a podcast, I often become also kind of distracted. So instead of doing that, I just go without music and I just appreciate things around me, or sometimes I get these new ideas, or sometimes I just, I don't know, stare to these trees around me. What I also like to do when I'm alone is cycling and weightlifting. It kind of helps me to clear my head and to be, I don't know, in the present moment and to actually feel better afterwards. Cycling is something which I picked up recently and weightlifting is something which I've done for a really long time. I'm no Superman. I also like to do unproductive things. For example, I'm a really huge fan of movies. I like movies. I've seen so much movies. Sometimes I even spend more time looking for movies than actually watching them because I cannot really find a movie that is a decent score on IMDb and I haven't watched it before. So if you know some movie, put it in the comments. I'm really curious if you can find me one. But let's say you're stuck and you have absolutely no idea what to do when you're alone. That could actually be the perfect opportunity to discover something new. So try new things. By doing that, you will maybe discover new hobbies or new interests. And actually, that's also the reason how I discovered, well, not necessarily discovered, but why I tried to start this YouTube channel. Because I always had a passion to, I don't know, listen to ideas of others, but also sharing my own ideas. But I always thought, well, I don't know how to film, I don't know how to edit and those kind of things. I still don't know, but I'm just trying. I will see, I will figure it out. But what I do know is that I think I can tell a pretty decent story without people falling asleep. So that's also some kind of skill, right? We've come to the end, guys. Thank you for watching. And the one thing I want you to realize is that we're living today in a world where we are connected to everything except ourselves. So the most important skill that nobody ever taught you is your capacity to be alone and to enjoy it. So appreciate the me time, try new things and try to be with yourself. This is also the reason why you will discover your own purpose in life. And once you find it, stick to it and don't let it go and go fully for it. Thank you for watching, and I'm also curious what your thoughts are. What do you think about this topic? Share it down below, and until the next time, have a good one.